Hello, hello, welcome to Man a Human Too. My name is Valentin Moyo, and first of all, I would like to thank you so much for listening and for following me on this journey that I've started. And the reason, because you've been listening and sharing this podcast, I've been getting some good uh, feedback on stats and on statistics and everything, and it's been really amazing. And I'm so grateful that you guys have been listening, and some people have been giving me direct feedback on it. So that really means a lot to me because I recently started on this journey just this year, and my podcast is kind of being noticed in the charts and whatnot, in the mental health community. So I really appreciate you guys for listening, and I'd like to thank you so much. And thank you very much. So, today's episode is an exciting one because not only is my 10th episode a milestone episode, it is an episode whereby I'm also recording it so you can watch it on YouTube if you like and see my awkward mannerisms and whatnot. So that should be interesting. But it's really an exciting episode for me because it's a new step in my creative direction and in my journey. So thank you so much, and please support me on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and all of that. It's much appreciated. So without further ado, let's jump into today's episode, which I'll be talking about fear and how I've pretty much overcome fear and how I've dealt with it and uncertainty because in the way it might be disguised sometimes in our lives. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it. Cheers. Clarity comes from engagement, not thought. Right, so I'm going to say that again so maybe you get it. Clarity comes from engagement, not thought. Now, this is a quote from a woman called Marie Furlow. If you don't know her, you should probably get to know her. I'll link her in the description of both my YouTube and my podcast, so don't worry. She's a life coach and also an author and many other things as well. She's quite brilliant, actually, and the way she articulates things is very inspiring and easy to digest. So the reason I start with that quote is because I completely subscribe to that school of thought that clarity comes from engaging in something, not sitting there and thinking about it. So I'll illustrate this in the form of a story. Last year, I came across a teaching method called Montessori. So most people might not know what Montessori is. This is a method of teaching pioneered by a woman called Maria Montessori. She's Italian. And it's a non-traditional teaching method for children. So instead of saying, standing in front of a classroom and saying 1 + 1 = 2, 2 × 4 = 8, all of that, right? The children learn in a more, it's like a senses type world, like for mathematics, you have small beads that children can count. And, so they can actually feel the quantity in their hands or little wooden sticks called spindles. They call it a spindle box, where when you're teaching a child to count up to 5, you give them a stick like 1, you put the first stick in their hand. 2, put 2 sticks in their hand so they can feel the quantity and see it changing. And I think this is a brilliant method of teaching, and it's very interesting stuff, right? So I was fascinated by it, and I thought to myself, let me get certified because this is interesting stuff, yeah? Around summer, at the end of July, one thing led to the other, I ended up getting the opportunity to start to begin my training on this. Go through this course, and the minor issue that I encountered was this course is on weekends now, right? And I have a 9 to 5 job, which is I work normal 9 to 5 during the week, which is, in the kindergarten. And then on the weekends, we go to this training. So sometimes it was either Saturday on its own or Saturday and Sunday. So I was extremely exhausted, really really tired, and this went on for about 2 months. And the more tired I got, and this is when the brain starts the nonsense, right? Like, do I really want this? Why am I putting myself through this? How much certification am I really worth, right? Like those ones that make you just like start questioning yourself. I think people who run the marathon, they have a certain number. Like if they're running a marathon, someone said it's around the 18th mile. That's when the brain will start, every bone in your body will start to try to tell you to stop, go back. What are you doing? Are you mad? Are you mental? All of that, right? But anyway, I pushed through this, I don't know what to call it, this period. So I pushed through it, and all this doubt and fear. And finally, around October, early October, we we complete the weekend trainings. So it's a celebration, right? I'm thinking, I'm off the big hurdle of, I've done the hard part already. Now it's time to begin our practical work called the practicum. Yeah, and so this is when you complete your assignments. This is where you get down to business really. And I completed some of the assignments, although there was a feeling that I couldn't seem to shake within me, which kind of felt like self-doubt. But I jumped over self-doubt around the point where I was asking myself, am I really should be doing this, right? Why am I doing this for, when I was really tired in the weekends? So, but this time is different, right? I'm looking at that in terms of, yes, I do like Montessori. However, this is Maria Montessori's legacy, not mine. And see, when you start to think in those terms, it's different because now, see, I left the UK having graduated from law school, getting a taste of what it's like to work in a law firm, and I didn't enjoy it that much. So leaving the UK to come here to China was a way of coming to find my own path, and here I am again, living Maria Montessori's dream, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Am I doing the right thing? Am I living out my truth? And unfortunately, the answer was no. It sort of felt like I did when I was working for the law firm. But what about all the time, right? All the time I've spent, all those weekends grinding, right? Feeling like I'm working 7 days a week on some weeks. What about all that time, right? But the answer is no. I'm not living the way I wanted to live. So what now? Now, it was I was absolutely shattered at this point, right? Knackered. But do I quit after all that time and money spent? Don't be silly, yeah? You start thinking to yourself. But then I did what I did when I left the UK, which was to listen to my gut in 2019. And I quit. Despite all the noise in my head, I just listened to those feelings deep inside me. And I quit. So after I quit, this felt good. I'm not gonna lie, right? I didn't know what was next. I didn't know what I'll do after, but somehow, it always feels good when you follow your gut because you know that you're trusting in something bigger than you. You're trusting in something that is more intelligent than you. And instead of making a decision based off fear, which was to stay, even though I've completed all those hours and spent all that money, I decided to leave, right? Now, Why the long-winded story? It's because I'm trying to say that fear can either make you or break you, right? And by that, I mean that in the sense that if you listen to the fear, it will really stand in your way, right? And it will keep you in a place and render you miserable. You'll be safe, of course, because you have a familiar future and a predictable future and a stable income. But there's always going to be that voice deep within you screaming for you to listen to it, because it's connected to something greater and it knows your deepest desires. And if you give it a chance, it just might guide you. Oftentimes, we're scared or anxious to take the leap and follow our dreams, or interests. But guess what? Like, the fear never goes away. You just have to do it while you're scared. There's just no way around it. Unfortunately. I'm scared now. I've always been scared, but at one point in my life, I did let that stop me. But I'm scared now doing it. And the more I do the things that I want to do, the more I realize that the fear never goes away. Like, the reason why I say I'm scared now is because I'm scared now because of this YouTube thing. What if it fails? What if my podcast never, reaches the people it was meant to reach? Things like that. But those are things I can't control, right? Like, I was scared to leave home where everything was familiar, to come to China where everything is unfamiliar, right? There's just so much fear around things, but sometimes you just have to say, you know what? I'm going to do it scared anyway, because the fear will just run you. And sometimes the fear will manifest itself as caution or perfectionism, right? Oh, no. I'm detail oriented. So, before I start, I need to make sure it's just right. Stop lying. You're scared. Okay? We all are. Some people use fear to propel them forward. For example, they make money because they're scared of being broke, so they grind, right? Train as hard as they do because they're scared of losing and they don't want to lose. They just want to grind and win, and losing scares them, so they go hard, right? So fear can either stand in front of you like Mount Kilimanjaro, huge opponent, daunting, but you can use it to move you forward as well. And that's how I choose to see it. There's just no other way. I can't see fear as something that is an obstacle that I cannot conquer, because I'll just remain the same. And I can't do that. My worst fear is remaining the same. So the fear of me remaining the same is not greater than the fear of me publicly failing and embarrassing myself in front of a lot of people, because I know that I'm going to learn so much from the failure if it happens in front of other people than I will learn from fearing something all in my head and just convincing myself that no, I shouldn't do this, let me just leave it, right? So when I quit the Montessori course, one of my friends posted about a webinar that was going to happen. It was about the inner critic. I'm interested in psychology, so I thought, this would be another, just something to just attend and just learn something new again. So I did. And when I attended, I realized that the webinar was for life coaches. Right? Life coach. What's a life coach, right? And to be honest, this is before I even encountered Marie Furlow. So this is quite recent, actually. And then they told me, what a life coach is. And when they did explain to me what a life coach was, I don't know, there's just something that made so much sense. Like, it's so hard to explain, but it hit a spot in me. I was like, wow, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Helping people figure out what they should do with their lives is something I've always liked to help people. I've always loved to not be nosy, but to empower people. If you know me and if you're my friend, you know that I'm very supportive. And not in the sense that what's in it for me type. It says like, I just want to see you win. And with this life coach thing, everything just made so much sense. It was beautiful. And I felt like I figured out why I came to China finally. That I finally reached a point where I was like, wow, this is why I left my job and to come here, because now I feel like if I use this life coach stuff and use it to help other people, that makes me happy. There's nothing in the world that makes me happier than that, honestly. Like, this is something that I feel so comfortable. I will be so comfortable doing. And I feel like that's my legacy. Because that's my name. When I help people, when I'm a life coach, right? I'm a life coach, and being a life coach now, and I only just began my journey, but it just feels as if this is my name, this is my reputation. So being that sort of person who has, just like Maria Montessori, I can have my own thing. And I didn't know that when I quit the Maria Montessori course. I say that to say this, like, if I had stayed in that course feeling miserable, thinking about all the time and money I've spent, I wouldn't have ended up attending that webinar because I would have been too stressed doing all the stuff that I needed to do for the course, which is fine, but I just find so much fulfillment right now learning about it, studying, and, like having coaching sessions with some people. It feels so good, and it feels like it comes naturally to me, and I'm so happy that I've managed to find that. And the reason why I say that is because I'm just trying to say that had I followed the fear and just stayed with it, I would have never got to the point where now I'm feeling like, yes, I figured out why I've came to China. Now I can work on that skill and also my other creative endeavors like this to make myself better, to make myself a more polished version of myself, learning more on the way and helping other people. And I hope I continue to find out more stuff, and I will share with you guys on my journey, and I'm happy about that. Right? So these are the sort of things that I think about when I think about fear. When I think about things that may be standing in our way that we don't see. So I'm really, really happy about that. And I'm so grateful. So before you even say it, I know, right? You're a perfectionist, as I said, right? Yeah, you might be a perfectionist, but stop lying to yourself, yeah? Take the leap, because it's never going to be perfect. Because whatever you do, someone is going to have to comment on it. No matter how perfect you think it is, right? And perfectionism is fear in a tuxedo. Right? It's like dressed up sharp, very desirable, but it's still fear because it's fear of putting your stuff out there without you thinking you've exhausted every possible thing you could do, which is brilliant. But sometimes I feel like it gets in our way as people. For me as well, I feel like that got in my way at some point, thinking I'm a perfectionist. So stop it. If you're scared, admit it to yourself and just do it scared anyway. Post that thing that you wanted to post because you're scared that, oh, I might have a silly, like, look at me right now, riddled with COVID. Omicron, devastating my, you know, nervous system, but I'm here sharing this with you, recording this. Now, yeah, granted, I'm feeling much better now, and I'll feel much better tomorrow, but I just couldn't wait any longer because I've been bedridden for so long. I was like, you know what? Let me just do it because tomorrow is not promised, but I have today. I can do it today. I can do it right now. And if I do it right now and post it or edit it and everything, and then at least I've done it, right? At least the hard part is done, right? Now, the next hurdle is pressing send. And the next hurdle is trying not to edit these things too much and, like cutting it or whatever and thinking, oh, it's going to be perfect when, no, it's done. When you finish with whatever project you're doing, I want you to think right now, if you have a project that you're doing, mate, you're thinking, when am I going to feel like it's time to let it go? As soon as you feel like, listen, I've done as much as I could here, within reason, because sometimes we hold ourselves back. If we get to that point and you think, but that little thing right there, let me just tweak that. No, let it go. It's done. You can feel it when it's done. There's nothing else you can do for it. Otherwise, you might end up ruining it. It's like when you keep cooking, overcooking the bread is not good. I always say that, overcooking the bread. But I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, let it go, my friend. If you're listening to this and you have something that you've been doing, but you haven't been able to push yourself to post it or whatever, do it. Do it. Because no one's going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. And remember, nothing is perfect. Nothing will be perfect ever. And people will always have something to say about it. You can absolutely kill it. Someone will still find that one thing. But yeah, but you didn't do this, right? Always. So you can't please everybody. You just have to do something that you like. Do stuff that you like. And when you're happy with it, without thinking about other people, detach yourself from their judgment. Because that's going to come anyway. You know what I'm saying? So take food, movies, clothes, anything, people. There's some people who don't even like the same animals you like because of certain things. You're like, what? You don't like cats? Why? You don't like dogs? Why? Because people have preferences. Because even you don't like everything. So why would you expect everyone to like everything that you do? Right? So just keep doing your thing and execute on whatever you need to execute on. Because there's only one you. Only one. And there's something that's in your heart that's calling to you. And only you can hear that. No one else can hear that. Only you can feel what's in your heart and how you see it in your head, how you want to deliver it. That's you. That's always going to be you. And if you do that with grace, if you just execute to the best of your abilities and, yes, plan for it, but don't put it off. How other people are going to see our creative endeavors is not up to us. I don't know how this is going to be received. And frankly speaking, as much as I care about it, that judgment of it, I don't care about it because it's going to stress me out because I don't have control over that. But what I do have control over is how I'm going to edit this, how I'm going to deliver this, sharing it with my friends, etc. Because you feel the fear of it. Good. Go for it. Right? Go for it. And you see that everything will align. Whether it's for you or not for you, you'll find out soon enough. And you'll be able to pivot, change your way, and look another way and keep it moving, right? Because guess what? Clarity comes from engagement, not thought. So thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you. And yeah, this might be edited funny, or it might not have a structure, or it might be all over the place because I'm going to blame it on COVID. But hey, I'm doing it anyway and I'm posting it. And I hope this can be some sort of inspiration to you that, look, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to get it done anyway. Because regardless of what happens, I'm going to get better. And I hope you too get better, my friend. And if this resonated with you in any shape or form, please like it and share it with other people. That would mean a lot to me and that would help my little podcast grow. And yeah, we need more men to heal so we can change the world. And I hope you heal, my friends. Until next time.